Alright guys, what's up? Professor here, back with another video. Today I'm gonna do a full review of Spider-Man Brand New Day. I didn't do an out of theater reaction just because I wanted to sit on this for a few days to make sure that my first impression of the movie was the correct one. It was the one that I generally felt. And I'd say after thinking about it for a few days, I still haven't changed my mind about this movie, both in positive and in negative. Now, I'm gonna say that first of all, I'm not as excited about this as the rest of the world seemed to be. I was very hyped about the movie and I went to see it on release date. I was very excited to see what they wanted to do next with Tom Holland Spider-Man. So I generally went into the movie with high expectations and a lot of excitement. And overall, I would say I was pretty disappointed by what I saw. It's not all terrible, obviously, and it's still a pretty good movie. I would say one of the best that Marvel put out in recent years, which I know is not very a high bar, but still. I wanted to start from the pro. So the things that I think the movie actually did really well. First of all, the opening sequence is amazing. So seeing Spider-Man fight all of his villains, it was amazing because he has a lot of great villains, and that's why I think he's one of the best superheroes. He's because he has some of the best villains. But the thing is that they literally appear in the sequence for like a few seconds. It's a blink or miss moment. You get to see like Tombstone, Tarantula, Boomerang, Scorpion. That's a recurrent character, but still very underutilized, I think. Also like the action scenes that we see from the opening sequence and also in other parts of the movies are incredible. This is some of the best actions that you're ever gonna see in a Spider-Man movie. Everyone else is saying this, and that's because it's true. Like, he literally feels like ripped straight out of the Insomniac games. Spider-Man, like, is so athletic, so strong, so like it's incredible to see how he moves, how he uses his power in all this crazy combination. So on that side, they really nailed how Spider-Man would fight and would swing and would crawl. So all that department. It's amazing. It's like, imagine the equivalent of playing the Arkham Knight, in general, like the Arkham games, and feeling like Batman. Like, you see this movie and you feel like Spider-Man. It's very, very immersive. Also, I would say like at least the emotional side of it is, I think they bring it home. Like, it's not like it falls completely flat. The emotional thing that they wanted to deliver in the movie, most of the time you feel them, especially from Tom Holland, which I think he gave probably one of his best performances as Spider-Man. Like, now I think he's really comfortable with the character. Well, he's been playing it for like 10 years now. He's really confident as Spider-Man. Still, like, he has the quirkiness of Peter Parker, but he really looks like the character now. I think it would be very weird to see anyone else do it at this point, like take his mantle in a way. I think he's doing a really good job, and even when he's surrounded by more experienced actors, he still can hold his own, and obviously, like, he has to because he's the titular character. But yeah, I would say he did a great job with both Peter and Spider-Man, which is very difficult because it's like, playing two different characters, but he does it very, very well. And also I would say, the visual department, like the CGI is not too bad, surprisingly enough. Again, like, it's not a high bar considering what we saw the past years, but yeah, I would say like the CGI didn't really take me out of the movie. Like, I felt like it was very appropriate and pretty good quality. Also the costume department, amazing. Like, the Spider-Man that we saw is really like so accurate to the comics, and it looks very classic, I would say. But also, like, he has some modern aspect to it, maybe in some cases too modern with all the tech that they try to introduce. And I think it makes Peter rely less on his strength, like on his intelligence, on his creativity, because he can rely on like artificial intelligence and all these advanced tech. That was, I think, one of the aspects that people didn't like about his early portrayals as Spider-Man, because he felt like he was Iron Man Jr. in a way. It is less in this movie, but it's still there. Also, like, you wonder how he's financing all of this, since he's apparently unemployed. But I mean, I don't think you can answer all of these questions. Another aspect I would say, and that's probably the last aspect that I liked about the movie, it felt like it was the right length. So that is that today movies tend to outstretch way more than what they should. They put a lot of scenes that really drag the pace, or maybe they cut it too short, like in an hour and a half or an hour and 45 something. But this movie is like, it's literally the right length. Although, like, I would say it's so, like, they're so stuffed with characters and plot points that, I mean, it needs to be the right length, because otherwise it would end up being a 3-hour movie. But yeah, like, I would say overall it is a good movie. It is not the best Spider-Man movie by any stretch of the imagination. Again, this is something that everyone is saying, but I think it's more like you get caught in the excitement of the movie, or the moment, right? Oh, we got the new Spider-Man movie, so it's amazing, whatever. Like, Spider-Man is the most popular character, comic book character in movies, at least. So obviously, like, everyone is gonna be excited. Everyone and their mothers is gonna go see this movie, and it's wrecking insane numbers at the box office. Probably it's gonna get close to 2 billion. Like, it's already now like nearly 1 billion, and it's been out for just a few days. So yeah, it's insane. And also, critics are glorifying this movie. But I mean, I want to say, like, that's why I waited a couple of days, because I didn't want to get influenced by what everyone is saying about this movie. So I wanted to make sure that this was my true opinion. Now, about the things that I didn't like about the movie, I would say, although they're not too many, I think they're important things. First of all, like, the movie is really stuffed with characters, and there's too many inconsequential characters. They add nothing to the plot. If you remove them, nothing changes, and some of them, they even feel like parodies. Like, take Yelena, and I mean, a lot of people like him, but even the Punisher in this movie, like, they both feel like they're parody of themselves. Like, not really what a Black Widow and the Punisher should be. Like, also the way they treat Peter, especially Yelena, like, she acts like she's some big deal, whatever. I don't know if it was played for laughs, so they really want to make sure that people perceive her as an important member of the new Avengers. And the whole thing about small potato, big potatoes, it was rubbish, because Peter, like, Spider-Man is literally part of the real Avengers, not the fake one. Not the fake ones. And he literally fought Thanos in space and helped save the universe. So her talking to him like she's some big deal and he's just some street level hero is just ridiculous. Like, no one is buying that. Also, her fake Russian accent is so out there. Like, again, like, it feels like a parody. Also, like, forcing him to get stripped and get into the water, like, was just such a humiliation ritual for Peter. And again, like, it would have never played out if the genders were inverted. But yeah, those scenes were completely useless. Like, you learn nothing from Yelena, and it's things that Spider-Man could have found out on his own very easily. So, like, I think they're just shoehorning her into the movie because they want to build her up for Avengers Doomsday, obviously. So yeah, I didn't really like it, and you could totally remove her scenes and nothing changes about the movie. Then there is the Punisher. I like the dynamics between the two. What I don't like is the PG-13, like, I don't know, family-friendly Punisher that cracks jokes and cries. I'm like, yeah, that's not the real Punisher. The Punisher is a very, like, stoic and merciless character. It's literally called the Punisher. And I don't know, the way John Bernthal plays it is just like, I don't know, it feels almost like the comedic side of a duo or whatever. And again, like he has good chemistry with Tom Holland, and him and Spider-Man together are very fun to watch. But again, it's not the Punisher; it's someone else. So I think they completely like neutralized this character and they made it kid friendly, which is a big mistake because it's the opposite of a family friendly character. Then there's the Hulk. Well, I don't think many people like Mark Ruffalo at this point. But at least we got Savage Hulk back, which is great because everyone was sick and tired of the Professor Hulk thing. So we want to see a Hulk that actually smashes things. And at least that part was great. Again, like, but the Punisher in this case was kind of useless because what the hell is he gonna do against Hulk and against the villain of the movie? So yeah, like even Hulk, like the whole thing about the inhibitor is something that Peter could have found out himself, like just by researching the Hulk and things like that. So I think like they just shoehorn these characters in because the Hulk either isn't gonna be in Avengers Doomsday or is gonna be, and they wanna show there is Savage Hulk back to hype him up. So one of the two, like again, like it feels more like a setup to Doomsday when they put these characters in that they got nothing to do with Spider-Man, and they also take important screen time away from characters that are way more important to the Spider-Man universe. Now, one of the weakest points of the movie, in my opinion, is the fact that one half of the movie, and that's connected to the fact that everyone says that it's like seeing two movies meshed together, is the fact that the first half of the movie, it's a pretty good Spider-Man movie. The second half of the movie, it becomes pretty much an X-Men prequel. Now, I should have said it before, but this is obviously spoiler review. I didn't do the whole like spoiler free. I just want to do one review and that's it. Basically, the first half of the movie, Peter deals with his DNA changing and he's leaning more on the arachnid side of things. So he's becoming stronger, but also more like beastly, more like a spider. He has organic web shooter, etc. And then the second half of the movie, it's basically Jean Grey introduction in the MCU, and I didn't like it because I don't want a Spider-Man movie to feel like an X-Men prequel. I want a Spider-Man movie to feel like a Spider-Man movie. Sure, you can set up future installments, you can make reference to future ensemble movies like the Avengers, but at the same time, this has to feel like a Spider-Man movie, like from start to finish. It doesn't. I don't want them to do the same mistake that Batman v Superman did, which was to turn it into a Justice League prequel and forget that it has to be a movie about the two main characters. Now, the other aspect, and again, this is connected to the fact that Jean Grey is kind of like, it feels like she's the main villain, but towards the end it turns out she's actually Damage Control. It's the fact that there is no real Spider-Man villain. So it's like Spider-Man is either fighting a mutant or she's fighting a government organization. Like Spider-Man is one of the comic book characters that has the best rogue villain in history. I would say second only to Batman. So they could have used so many characters. You have Kraven, you have Venom that, it was actually set up in No Way Home, so they could have used. They have Mr. Negative that again it was set up because Aunt May in No Way Home was working for Fist, which is the organization connected to Mr. Negative. So they could have done so many more interesting things, but they choose to basically introduce just a government agency as a villain, and I honestly, it was so disappointing. Like there was no like real fight in the end. It was just Peter talking to Jean Grey and convincing her not to kill everyone. It was, I don't know, it was so weird, and I feel like it was really lacking because again, as I said before, Scorpion is in the movie but is very underutilized. So also you see Peter like easily overpower him. Also like towards the end again, like there is this resolution of Peter's conflict, and I felt like it was very trivial. Like I feel like I've seen this played out like a million times. Like the hero that doesn't know if it's the hero or the person, and then towards the end is like, oh, I'm both. Like that's literally how the movie resolves this, and I was like, really? That's it? Like the whole movie setting this up, and then that's what we got. It was very very. I think it was very poorly made. Now, another thing is that this is minor thing, but still, it took me out of the movie many times, and it's the fact that the humor doesn't really land. It's not as bad or on the nose as other MCU movies, but still, I think it was, I don't know, the pretty laughless movie for me. Nothing really landed except a couple of things, but every joke was so, I'd say, Gen Z coded and so weird, and it didn't really do it for me, honestly. Like I miss the old MCU humor that you got with RDJ as Iron Man, etc. So that was very good, but this one is like, I don't know, the worst of Guardian of the Galaxy, like the worst that James Gunn or Taika Waititi can do. And yeah, it didn't really, again, like it took me out of the movie because I'm like, really, they're going for this joke in this movie, in this context of the movie. But yeah, those are the things that I really like. Yeah, again, like it's not like some of these things is more like personal, I think. But yeah, they took me out of the movie a lot of times, and they left me very disappointed with how the movie ended. And I'm actually like a good chunk of the movie. But there's also things that I think it was a good idea, but I didn't like. I don't like how they played it out in the movie. So I think they could have done it better. One of the main thing is the whole Spider-Man transformation. So basically, in the movie, like if you're familiar with either the comics or the 90s TV show, you know that at some point Peter DNA mutates and he becomes literally like a man spider. So it's like he grows 2 more sets of arms, and he has eyes and fur, and it literally becomes a spider monster. Now, you don't have to go all the way and turn it into a body horror, although it would have been very fascinating. But yeah, I would have loved for them to lean a bit more into it, not just like show the eyes becoming all black and his senses heightening and him becoming stronger and faster. I would have loved to see more of the spider taking over also his body, not just his powers, and see him like losing control of who he is. That would have been very very interesting to see. Another thing that I wish they did different was finally moving away from Ned and MJ. Now, I got nothing against them in this movie in particular because they're not as bad, not as obnoxious. Zendaya, she's not playing the character from Euphoria. She has a bit more heart and soul, I would say, and Ned as well is a bit more likable. I mean, he was always likable, but it's not like so over the top as the other movies, I would say. But yeah, I would say I understand Peter still feeling lonely and missing his friend and his girlfriend, but the whole point of No Way Home was for Peter to do this big sacrifice and becoming the hero that he always that he needed to be to save the multiverse. And the fact is that him trying to get MJ and Ned to remember who they were, it kind of like undercuts a lot and minimized the sacrifice that he made in No Way Home. So I didn't like that one bit because it took away from all that was built up in the previous movie. Now, I wish that we got more Spider-Man characters like, Black Cat, the real MJ, or Gwen, so you can finally have a new love interest. And even in the movie, like there's him interacting with a girl that lives in his apartment building, which is really cute. And at first you feel like, oh wow, are they finally gonna give Peter a new love interest? But no, because he's married to Zendaya, it's always Zendaya. Like he's not allowed to have new love interests. So I don't like that part because I feel like we're still stuck in the past, and they get a lot of screen time, like far too long. And some scenes are fine, like, where they hang out together and they play. It's kind of nice. And also I like the fact that Peter, like Zendaya is actually, sorry, MJ, is actually honest to Peter and telling that she doesn't remember him and she doesn't love him, she doesn't know who he is, whatever. But that should have been like a 5-minute scene where we're like, okay, it's done in the beginning. We know that they're not a thing anymore, so we can finally move on. And also, I don't know how I feel like about the fact that Ned seems like he remembers Peter in the end, because that means that, again, they're gonna come back in next movies where we could have just forgotten about them, or they could have done something that, they should have done, I'm not saying like a few movies ago, but they should have hinted at, like, I don't know, like Ned Leeds in the comics is the Hobgoblin. So, what, aren't you gonna do anything about that? Or it's just a coincidence that the name is the same? They could have done something like, I don't know, like Peter tries to get Ned to remember, and this kind of like, and also Jean Grey messes up with Ned's head, and he becomes, I don't know, messed up, and that's what turns him evil into the Hobgoblin. They could have done something like that, and it would have been great, because at least we would have had a proper villain. About Zendaya as MJ, I'm like, she was never the real MJ for me. Sorry, like that's not the MJ that Peter loves. No, but both not in personality and in appearance. So I first, when Sadie Sink was announced, I was hoping that she was the real MJ. But then, yeah, we've pretty much known for a year that she's Jean Grey, because they're doing the new X-Men movie, so they wanted a launch pad to introduce these characters, and they somehow chose the Spider-Man movie. Yeah, I don't know. I think like a lot of characters, they could have been either removed or swapped for more consequential characters and give us a more Spider-Man story. That's I would say like the main concern that I have about this movie. The thing that I didn't like the most was that and it's gonna sound very obvious here, it feels a lot like an MCU Spider-Man movie rather than feeling like a solo Spider-Man movie. I know that it's part of an extended universe, so there has to be some sort of dots that the movie connects with the rest of the universe, but it's like they just don't let Spider-Man be Spider-Man. Like, he could have been alone by himself with no Punisher, no Hulk. Like, you don't need all this character to attract people. Spider-Man, again, like, he's the most popular superhero at the moment. You just need him, a good story, a good villain, a love interest, and that's it. Also, why on earth isn't Peter working at the Daily Bugle as a photographer with, J. Jonah Jameson? Why aren't we getting the classic Spider-Man tropes that we all love and we all want to see? We saw in every movie, so we should see in this one too. But I don't know, like, it's like Marvel, they took just some of the aspect that they liked, and then they threw away the rest. When, I don't know, like, Spider-Man is a complete character, so you need to take everything together. So yeah, again, that's what I didn't like. It's like it feels like the movie wants to move on, but at the same time it's still dragged by the past, which is Ned, MJ, and Peter feels sorry for Aunt May. Like, I mean, that makes sense because obviously she was such a big part of his life, but also, like, why no one mentions Uncle Ben? Like, Uncle Ben is an essential part of Peter's upbringing, of Spider-Man's origin story. So why is just Aunt May, but we never hear a mention of Uncle Ben? Again, like, this is Marvel just twisting the iconic characters to morph them in something that fits their program. But actually, like, even if you did classic Spider-Man, it would still fit the MCU perfectly. But yeah, I don't think there's any point in being upset about this, because that's the road that they took with Tom Holland, which I don't mind. I think he's a good actor, and he really embodies Spider-Man, especially in this movie. So at least on this side, I like him. Like, I don't have a problem with him. He's a good choice. The movie was pretty good, I would say, most of it. The rest of it felt like an overstuffed mess with characters that got nothing to do with Spider-Man, and for a good chunk of the movie, like, it was, I don't know. It almost feels like I forgot that I was watching a Spider-Man film, and I'm like, am I watching like an X-Men prequel or something, like an X-Men spin-off with Jean Grey? Because I haven't seen Spider-Man in a while. Now, although the action scenes land pretty well, also there are some scenes that drag far too long, like the scenes with Spider-Man and MJ and Ned. So also some scenes with the Punisher that again, like, they don't add anything of value to the character. If anything, they make it look more like a family-friendly Punisher, like a Spider-Man's big bro. And yeah, those are the main thing that I didn't like about the movie. I was honestly, I went into this so excited, so ready for a great movie, and from the trailer it looked like it was a banger. But yeah, this movie has a lot of problems to me. It's still worth watching. It's a good continuation, but it could have been so much better. If but apparently Marvel cannot stop getting in its own way. So I would say my score for the movie is 6.5 out of 10. And yeah, I don't think I'm gonna rewatch it because the first time was enough for me. It didn't really excite me that much. But I don't know. I still hope I can see more of Tom Holland in the future, and hopefully with some more interesting villains, some less recycled plot points, and a less stuffed movie, so we can finally see a linear story about Spider-Man. Yeah, guys, that's it for today. That's my review of Spider-Man Brand New Day. Let me know if you agree with me. Let me know what you think of the movie. What's your score? What did you like? What didn't you like? And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Right, guys. I know I said that that was the end of the review, but actually, I finished recording. I went to grab a shower, and as I was doing it, I thought of other at least five, six things that I wanted to discuss in the review. But then I completely forgot it because I started blabbering about other things. Now, the main thing that I left out is actually quite a big issue that I had with the movie, and that was just upon watching it. I didn't even have to think about it later because I made the connection straight away. It was the moral ambiguity of the antagonist. Now, spoiler alert, but I said it already, but early in the review, Jean Grey, in the beginning, she's the main villain, then it becomes damage control. And the fact is that the way she acts is very WandaVision coded in a way, but it's like they try to paint her as this tragic hero. She lost a lot, so her actions are completely justified, but she just literally enslaves New York City and makes people do horrible things. Right? She forces a lady to run a tank into a government building. She makes people shoot each other, or hit people with cars. She probably injured and killed a few people. So it's actually like she's not really like this tragic hero that you empathize with. She's actually a villain through and through. And the fact is that when Peter does a mistake, he gets punished straight away. Like we saw, like how his mistake played out in Far From Home, in No Way Home, especially. But here, like he always pays the consequences for his actions, and for him, is a chance to learn from his mistakes and grow. But when it comes to, like, I don't know, female characters in a way, and this is not just a problem that Marvel has, it's just modern Hollywood. There is no accountability. Like we don't see Jean Grey being sorry at all. We don't see her like realizing the horrible things she's done and having some sort of like identity crisis, or crashing out because people got hurt because of her mistakes. So it's just like, oh, she's let go at the end, and yeah, it's fine. Peter gives her a nice speech, and she's just free to walk away. We don't even know like she's gonna keep doing what she did. We don't even get like the soft version where instead of going to jail, which she totally deserves to, she's taken by Professor X, and she goes to the school. That would have been also a good way to set up the future X-Men movie, although I still disagree with the fact that they did this in a Spider-Man movie. But anyway, yeah, it's total the total lack of accountability that just baffles me. It's like if a male character does something, they get instant karma, and then to make amends for it, say they're sorry and pay the consequences. And sometimes it's not even enough to fix things. But when characters like Vanda or Jean Grey,
they do things that are way more horrible, they just walk away free, and it's just fine because yeah, they lose this, they lose that, so they can just be horrible people. That part, honestly, it just pissed me off so much. The other part that I have a problem with is the fact that although I would say Tom Holland's Spider-Man finally graduated after Avengers Endgame and No Way Home from Spider-Boy and Iron Man Jr. to Spider-Man, so he's the actual comic book character that he's playing. It still feels in this movie like he almost has no agency. What I mean by that is that every decision that he makes, every piece of information that that he gets, every action that he decides to take, it's almost like led by someone else. Like a lot of people are guiding him, and it doesn't have to be that way. Like you have the cop that he talks to all the time, which is completely useless for the plot. I mean, she's a nice enough character, but she doesn't need to be there. She's just hitting screen time. Same as Yelena, which I cannot stand because she acts so smug when in the end, like Spider-Man could take her out with a kick. And then like I don't know, like all these side characters that are feeding info to Peter, info that Peter could easily got by himself, like even the Punisher, Hulk. Like it's all like they're there to kind of like babysit Peter. And the whole time I was thinking, can you just let him be Spider-Man? Like he is one of the most iconic superheroes ever, for a reason. He can make decisions for himself, and for sure he's gonna accept the consequences of his choices. So can we just see that, finally, like, okay, Spider Boy is Spider Man now, but can we also see Peter Parker becoming a man and, having his own opinions and acting his own way rather than being influenced by so many people around him? So that's another thing that really pissed me off. Then there's the fact that it didn't just remind me of WandaVision, but obviously also of Stranger Things. I mean, the fact that like Jean Grey is basically Max from Stranger Things, from her upbringing, her personality, etc. I'm not saying that Sadie Sink is a bad actress or anything, but obviously she's too young to have that kind of like deep range that you can kind of like see the character rather than seeing the actress playing the character, and just seeing the actress playing the character in the same way in every movie, although they're different characters. It reminded me too much of Max, and also the whole thing about possession and I don't know, like special abilities, whatever. Like it's very like again like influenced by Stranger Things. And I think they tried to play off the popularity of the show and the popularity of Spider-Man to kind of like, I don't know, it felt like a win-win. So that's why I also like, I don't like shoehorning this character that don't belong in a Spider-Man movie, because I don't know, like you should kind of like see the character before you see the actor playing them. But anyway, that's another thing that Hollywood like will never learn. They just I don't know, these days they seem to know like just 20 actors, whatever, and that's being generous, and they just put them everywhere. Now, the other thing that I think the movie did very, in a way, poorly, but also very good, was the advertising. So from the trailer, like it looks like a completely different movie. Like it sounds very exciting because it's like Peter fighting, uh, like some of the most iconic villain from his rogue gallery. But then in the end, it's just like again a montage in the beginning, a little bit more of Scorpion, but not nearly enough, and then that's it. So like the movie becomes something else. They never hint at the fact that like half of the movie is like an X-Men prequel, which is very annoying because that's not what I was expecting. That's why up until the end, I knew she was Jean Grey, but I always hoped a little bit that she would have been the real MJ. But yeah, again, once more, I got disappointed by Marvel. The other problem is that, but then obviously it's not something that the movie I don't want to blame the movie too much for this, which is the fact that the story feels a bit disjointed in a way, but it's normal because this movie was supposed to come out after Avengers Doomsday. So I don't know how much of this movie they actually repurposed to put it out before Avengers Doomsday. We'll see also during and after Avenger Doomsday, like what are the consequences of this movie, if any at all. But yeah, it just felt like, I don't know, bits of different movies like stitched together, a bit like they're gonna do with Avengers Doomsday, which is basically a repurposed Kang Dynasty movie. So yeah, I don't know, it was a bit confusing at times and it didn't feel very linear. It's not like a major issue or anything. I still think the story is fairly good. It just that, I don't know, I wish they would have kept it a bit more simple and focused on Spider-Man rather on the than on the broader MCU universe. Now, this is regarding the movie itself. Now, in regards to the movie, I also want to talk about the industry as a whole, because I want to address the fact that a lot of people during the past years have mentioned superhero fatigue or Marvel fatigue or whatever there is, and this movie now is crashing it at the box office, and it feels like the same situation that we had in 2021 with Spider-Man No Way Home, when, I don't know, every movie was failing and everyone was like, oh, it's because of COVID. And then Spider-Man No Way Home nearly made 2 billions at the box office. So we're like, okay, is there a COVID problem or not? What's happening? But here, like after No Way Home, it's, and that was like 5 years ago, like we've had a lot of movies that flopped, like theaters are struggling to get people in seats. And it's not because, I don't think there's superhero fatigue, because if you love a genre, like you're gonna go watch whatever's out in theater, so you don't really care about, oh, there's I've already seen a Batman movie last month, I don't want to see a Spider-Man movie in this month. Like if you've had a good time, like you're gonna go anyways. And even the general audience, because that's the fact, like if they go to the cinema and they see that there's an MCU movie and they're like, oh, last time I watched Avengers Endgame and that was pretty good, okay, so let's see this new movie. So it kind of like you see the benefits every time. But then if you put out movies like the Marvels or like uh I don't know, Captain America Brave New World, they see it and they're like, I mean, that was not just expensive, also very bad movie. So next time, even if there is a big movie, like they're gonna be like, oh, the last MCU project was not that good, so why should I waste my money on this? But yeah, if you keep putting out good movies, people don't care. I don't think most people care about the genre unless like it's super overstuffed and oversaturated. Like you released a new superhero movie every week, but I mean that would have been too much even for Marvel. But yeah, in general, people want to see good movies. They don't care about who's in it, what's the genre, what's the story. Just see like how well Backrooms and Obsession did, and they're indie horror films. So people are clearly craving good stories. They want to see good characters. And in that sense, Tom Holland did a great performance here. And it was very emotional. He really embraces the core of Spider-Man. So in that sense, I need to give it to the movie, although I didn't like it very much. But still, the performance are overall good. But yeah, like I in a way I hope that this helps theater get back in, get back on track, and more people enjoying movies again. So although I don't agree with the general excitement about this project, I'm still happy that people are going to the theater again, they're enjoying superhero movies again. And hopefully this carries into Avengers Doomsday as well, which I hope is far better than Brand New Day. But yeah, now this is the real end of the review. I think I've talked about everything I wanted to talk about, but let me know in the comment if you think there's something I missed, and I'll see you all in the next one.